It's hot right now, so that's great. So I've started to pull all of my graded cards together, and I've kept my raws. Now I'm going through a lot of my. I've got bins. As I said, I've got millions of cards. I've got hundreds of unopened boxes. I just found the other day. It's funny. I've been going through things. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot I had that. I had a 1 of 50 box from Topps that I'm going to do some research on to see what was the card that was inside. There's everything from a Babe Ruth to Ty Cobbs to, that set I bought about 10 years ago.
All right, Chris, we're live. Here we go. Welcome, Constant Sports podcast guests, listeners, viewers, all the above. This is another episode of the Constant Sports podcast, and today we're diving into tech, media, ownership, investing in teams, sports as an alternate asset, and much more. Whatever Mr. Chris Carter wants to chat about. So thanks for joining us today, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited. This is going to be fun today.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And Chris had a great background in sports. He's been around for a while and working in various projects as well. So I'm excited to get into those, and especially trading cards. I want to dabble into that world as well. Media sales, the whole deal. So we'll start, Chris, kind of with the Milwaukee Rampage. A lot of the listeners are younger, just getting into sports, first jobs and things. And so what was that like, kind of is getting, I guess, your feet wet in the sports space?
Yeah, you know what? Well, it was my first professional sports team to get involved with as an executive. So I was the vice president of sales and marketing for them. I was very fortunate. Mr. Doucette brought me on board when I moved back to Wisconsin after college and years of working. I'd actually been working at ACOG, which was the Atlantic Committee for the Olympic Games. And then when I came back to Wisconsin and such, wanted to catch up and get involved, and lo and behold, I got involved. And so I ran sales and marketing for 3 seasons and had a fantastic time. We had current and future Premier League players in Brian McBride and Tony Sane, Bundesliga players. We had guys that were part of World Cup play, and since World Cup is coming up in the next couple months, I got my ticket. So I look forward to seeing everybody. And it was exciting for me. So that was a fantastic. I learned a lot of what it takes to deal with a minor league team, because back then the USL was only A League, and then they joined once World Cup came through and they started the men's professional league here, Major League Soccer. Then it started to really blow up. And we also had women that came in. It was fun. We had Foudy, and we had a couple of other young ladies that came in from the women's World Cup team, who came in and did some kicks and did some sponsorships and stuff with us. So that was great as well, and it was wonderful to be able to be part of that.
Yeah, and kind of talk a little bit about the minor league at the time, and then kind of those lower tier leagues, especially for, like I said, the listeners, viewers just getting into sports. What can they expect, I guess, from your vantage point?
So when you get into a minor league team, expect the unexpected and do the unexpected. When you're out there and you're doing stuff, look at what the Savannah Bananas are doing. Man, there are so many different things you can do. It was funny. When I came in there, we had some sponsorships and we had some activity, but not a lot. And so what was cool is I had free reign to do just about anything that would bring in fans, that would help grow the sport, get people into the seats, and to the point where our coach, who was a phenomenal gentleman named Coach Bob Gansler, who was the World Cup coach and then Kansas City's head coach and GM for the MLS, said, you know what, you can use my guys as long as they're not being injured, they're not taking out a schedule, they're not taking away from practices, they're not taking away from games. We want to promote this. And he knew that, and he had his son was there and others. And so literally I went off and I pitched anything and everything. And some people took it. Everything to the point was I had a car drive onto the field and people had to try to kick a soccer ball into the front window. Now, it was those types of things. And then I had these Nesquik kicks where people had to try and get a soccer ball through a specific hole that was literally the size of the soccer ball and maybe another half to quarter inch around it. And then we had the Sun Country kick. We had these races with kids. And then we were throwing out free coupons. It was anything and everything to get promotion, to get dollars and cents in the doors, and to really try to make it fun and entertaining. And that's why I love the Savannah Bananas, because they do the same thing as you would see in a minor league team. So, yeah, fun stuff.
Right, yeah, I love it. And one, this just got me thinking about, talk a little bit about kind of the business side. You mentioned getting dollars in the door. A lot of these minor league teams, you know, that's the bulk of their, you know, they're not making a ton in ticket sales just because it's the minor leagues, but that's how you get people in the door, obviously, get those ticket sales. So what's kind of the business side look like as far as, you know, I guess inventory, you know, buying and selling merch, you got ticket sales, sponsorship sales, what kind of goes into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we tried to do is we knew that, you know, if we were lucky, we were going to get several hundreds of fans, and there are maybe up to 1,000 fans. But really what it was is about getting sponsors on board to know that they're going to get their logos in front of people. All the marketing we did, all the radio that we did, we had our radio broadcasts, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things that we really wanted to push and get them. So it was funny. I got an organization to do the car. You could win a car lease for a year by getting the ball through the front window. You could get free airline tickets with Sun Country Airlines back in the day. So from a dollars and cents standpoint, I knew that the only time that we were really going to get true breaking us even 1,000 fans was when we did international games, or we did a special event, or we had special giveaways. And so that was really a cool part. I tried for our home games to have everything from a free doll giveaway, a little Beanie Baby. It was remember back in the day we had Kobe Jones, who was playing for the LA Galaxy. Well, it had the Rastafarian hair like Kobe had and everything. It was really cool. And so we gave those away. We ended up giving away 2,500 of those at the game. And thank God I kept one. I've got one in storage. But it was so much fun. And then we had the entire game jersey, shorts that kids would want. And it was all these things. Sun Country Airlines again. I go back to them because back in the day, they had gone out of business. They were taking us everywhere around the United States. And they gave us 2 free tickets every single match. If somebody scored a goal, they would get those tickets. Well, all of a sudden, one day we decided we were going to have one of the soon-to-be women's league players as the goalie. And everybody thinks, oh, here we go. This is not going to happen. Well, lo and behold, it did happen. She just literally was, ole. And it was so much fun.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And one of the other things I thought was very cool kind of about your journey was, you know, you had different stops of the way, but another one was you were kind of a part of that, the radio group. And I think you had 60 cities, give or take.
We did.
So how did that expand? And I know obviously your love for sports is up there, but I just think, you know, especially that was kind of when radio was hot, could you say? Was that kind of the peak of radio? Is it?
Well, it was interesting. So the Sports Geeks Radio Network, I started that literally in my home office. And I took the idea from Yahoo Radio. So you remember when Yahoo Radio bought Mark Cuban's team and made him an instant billionaire? And what he is today? Well, there was nobody doing sports in individual cities, unlike like now Barstool Sports is kind of doing that. I could get radio time literally dirt cheap. And what we would do is we did everything via the World Wide Web. So the people in every city, we literally had RadioCast going in every city. I had bought a tower in Dallas, Texas, and I bought a tower in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I had my own towers. So I could legally claim my radio broadcast rights. And I had those before I sold those off. And then what I did is I bundled all of the cities together. And I had, quote unquote, national shows that would air at specific times. And then I had local shows that would air at specific times. And we'd run that all through RadioCast. And it was mandatory that everybody that was part of that city also had to write a minimum of one article every week to be on the website. So everybody, Dallas, Salt Lake, Atlanta, New York, we broke New York up a little bit, and then we had others, and it was fantastic. And we would have some great, you think Barstool Sports is controversial now? Oh my God, we had men and women and young people, college. I would go out to all of the colleges and I was posting, hey, I'm looking for people who need for their resumes, writing experience, radio experience, TV experience, on-field experience. You need to go to stadiums. You're going to get a pass to go to these events. I need you on it. And when we call you, you need to be available, just like the locals radio stations. And we had thousands of people came out of the woodwork, and I'm using old friends and Dan and some of these guys that are out there and Cody, and they're just like, really? I get to go to these? I said, here's who you contact. You let them know to contact us if they have any problem. You're our man or woman on the ground, and you need to go to these different events. Now, the NFL was very wonky. The NBA is tough. NHL. But what we would do too is we would get comp tickets. And so they would literally sit there. They would go into the back. So when you go up and you go into the food lines and you're getting foods in the different, they would sit back there on their phone. And the Buffalo Sabres had just scored a goal. It was on 3:15 in the first period. And they would talk, and then we would ask them questions, or somebody would ask them questions. And it was so much fun. And then after the games were done, we did a little post things with National. And it was great, especially during the playoff time. Playoff time, everybody wants to hear what's going on in anything. And we were allowed inside certain markets. Like I personally went to draft camp after draft in Las Vegas for the NBA, courtesy of the Milwaukee Bucks. And I went there. I had some other young people that were there, more mature. So we would go all over. We'd go to, it was funny, I had a budget set aside just so individuals could literally go to spring camp, spring draft camp, spring trainings, anything and everything around. And we would just, and then literally we got to know people, and people got to know that we were there and that we were serious, and they would listen to us, that we weren't just a bunch of schmucks trying to do this. And it was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I love a good business story like that, especially buying towers and doing things. I'm sure that's something you probably didn't have on your bingo list.
Well, that was not on my what am I going to be to become a billionaire bingo card list, because that was a negative number.
And then speaking of that, things you had on your bingo list. What about becoming kind of an investor in sports teams? Now the Carrick Rangers is one of them, and a few others. But has that always been something you wanted to get into? It
is. I've truly loved being involved in sports. I'm a businessman first and foremost, a technologist first, businessman second, and a lover of sports encompassing all of that. Basically, I've been everything. I've been to World Cup matches in India. For cricket, I've been to rugby 7 matches in London. I've been all over the NFL, the NHL. I've been to tennis matches throughout the United States. You pick a sport, and I've probably been to it. I've been to the National Lacrosse League games. I love sports. I played sports in my life. I'm 56 now, so I don't necessarily do it as well anymore, or without a lot of aspirin and a lot of putting some lotions on me. But it's truly fantastic, and it's exciting. So when I got the opportunity to start investing in different sports entities, I started looking around what I could get involved with. And it just so happened this year alone, I got invested in the Carrick Rangers. Michael opened it up to individuals to come in and buy as they need to. And so I became an 1893 member, which is a nice size level. And I'm trying to help out in any way possible for sales and marketing and promotions. I actually am booking my ticket for Belfast in August and just starting to go from there.
I love it. And what's something that you maybe were surprised about the most about kind of going in and being a part owner of a club?
So far nothing really has surprised me, because I know how passionate fans are. especially soccer fans or football fans. Um, Having been with the Rampage and knowing how they were, I've always loved working with volunteers. Soccer clubs and minor league teams have a lot of volunteers that help, and you can't really do that in the professionals. That it's a kind of a frowned upon thing. It's one of those things where I love seeing that, and so there's a fan group, there's other people involved, and so the only thing that maybe has kind of come up is the fact that I'm trying to do it in so many different areas that I just don't have enough time. So,
Right.
we got the team in Ireland. I'm trying to get involved with a minor league team in Wisconsin here that's going to start play next year. There's a baseball team I'm trying to get involved with. There's an XFC, which is an MMA style fight group, not the Logan Paul debacle from the other night on Netflix, but actually one that's actually truly a true minor league team, not bringing back all the old geriatric
All
folks.
the fighters.
I mean that in the nicest way possible because, look, Nagano's a great guy. Rhonda is a phenomenal young lady, great husband, nice people. There's groups down here with, unfortunately, Duke Rufus passed away. Is it a year now? Maybe it's two. I think it's a year ago now. He was fantastic, and they bringing in some of the young up and coming talent. Watching that Nate Diaz fight was horrible because that guy was literally a legend. I loved working with him. He was a great person to interact with when I was there. And the things Logan Paul was doing with that is just, look, don't do that.
Talking.
Don't act. You know what? Everything he does falls apart in 2 years anyway, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, if you're listening, Logan, sorry, man, but sitting in front of a love seat with some blonde woman, whatever you thought that was cool, that's not cool, man. You're doing this for the fans. Mm-hmm. If you think you're going to make a buck off your first show because you're on Netflix,
right?
I've got some better ways that you can make that league could become a good league if you would just let the professionals take on the responsibility and help you.
Mm-hmm. Handle it out. Speaking of that, where do you see kind of these emerging teams and leagues? As you mentioned, you're looking to get involved in a few, but we've seen a bunch of, whether it's women's sports with the PWHL, the hockey league. We got a few more basketball leagues popping up. Where do you see this? Do you see consolidation? Do you see more coming up? What are your thoughts?
Well, you're not gonna have as many as you think that you're gonna have out there, and it's just one of those things. So I'm looking at right now. There's the grass league for par 3 grass league that I really like the entity. I'm going to put in an offer to acquire a team here in the market, and they've got an ability to be able to they want to add up to 30 teams total. So you got 15 and 15, break it down. And I think that is I love par 3. I don't watch the PGA anymore. I am so sick and tired of their BS flapping gums. I do watch the majors. I watched Augusta. I love the par 3s. I think it's great. Now, I'm not a big get Jason Kelsey out there, get Kevin Hart out there. That was because they were trying to get to a different demographic, and I don't think that's going to happen next year. That's just my opinion on Augusta. It's the way that they roll. Being a Georgia Tech kid myself, I know the way they roll. So I really don't think that we're going to get too crazy in regards to expansion, but the Professional Women's Hockey League, I love that idea because there are so many great women playing college hockey, and literally they're an hour and 10 minutes down the road in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yep.
That team, you put that team on the ice right now against some of the men's team, and they're going to get crushed. Let's be honest. Different body types, different style, different physicality, all that. It's just, but those teams right there, you put them together and you have that team versus the rest of the women's team, man, you might have something there.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the best. I've got 2 incredible daughters. Know that. But when you look at the physicality from a men's team to a women's team, it's like somebody was telling me the other day that, there's WNBA teams out there, the Aces and others that would just, some of these crappy teams in men's basketball. And I just thought, there is no woman on the planet that would be able to sit on the end of a bench in the NBA, but vice versa. you would have Giannis Antetokounmpo would score 100 points a night on those teams. And that is not because I'm man against woman. That is just different body types, 6'10", 300 and some pounds against a woman who's 6 foot, Aja is 6'6", 6'5", and she's maybe a $190, maybe 200 pounds. It's completely different styles of basketball. Now, Caitlin Clark could sit outside the three-point arc and shoot up a bunch of threes, but unfortunately, people are then going to D up on her, and she's going to have to try to get faster off the edges, and that's tough. So I like the fact that if people are smart enough to just say, okay, men's is men's, women's is women's, be smart about that, and then enjoy them for what they are. Women's basketball or women's sports is not going to be as high impulse, high growth. They're not going to be slam dunking. They're not going to be hitting home runs. They're still going to do some body checking, but not to the crazy extent that you see in the NHL. Men's are a completely different animal. A lot more physicality, a lot more beating up on each other with those activities. There's mindset. So I always tell people, enjoy them for what they are. Enjoy who they are, what they are, why they are. And that's going to benefit all of sports kind, all the way through.
Right. Yeah, no, great thought there. And speaking of kind of staying in the sports universe, we talked a little bit off air about sports trading cards and that market. And so I want to dive in a little bit is
what do I got
I
here?
feel like during COVID, here we go. Let's see.
Here we go. We got Patrick Mahomes optic. I got a Jaden Daniels optic. I've got a whole here's one. This is a nice one. So this is one of my Bo Jacksons I've got here.
Okay.
Camera.
Oakland Raiders.
So that one's I was just going through some this weekend. I've got an entire crate of PSAs and here's some Skeens and others signed Robin Yount that I literally have I took out. I'm starting to wean down my collection a little bit, and bare naked raw cards I'm starting to send to ASG. I'm not sending a PSA. I'm as well as Boston, the Boston Card Trader guy. It's no PSA May. I am not sending anything to PSA, and to be honest, I don't trust them. I don't trust why they're grading what they are. ASG at least gives me an AI score and tells me everything what's going on with that card and why and what. It's cyclical. Beckett used to be the number one. Then PSA became the number one. And now somebody else is going to, because I think it's just a money grab, to be honest, at PSA. Sure. It takes 160 days to get cards back now. And I'm just not into it. I collect because I love collecting cards. And I love the future. And I love the sport. And I love being involved with, because I'm a numbers guy. So I used to know Reggie Jackson's stats, lock, stock, and barrel every year. And now it's just as an older individual, I've hoarded my cards. I've got probably about 5 million cards. And now it's time to start weaning them away and giving somebody else the opportunity to enjoy the hobby.
Yeah. So what does it look like as far as kind of the card market with collectibles and buying, selling, because it's its own asset class. So what's that whole process as you go into kind of wean down the collection?
Yeah, it's hot right now, so that's great. So I've started to pull all of my graded cards together, and I've kept my raws. Now I'm going through a lot of I've got bins. As I said, I've got millions of cards. I've got hundreds of unopened boxes. I just found the other day, it's funny, I've been going through things. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I had that. I had a 1 of 50 box from Topps that I'm going to do some research on to see what was the card that was inside. There's everything from a Babe Ruth to Ty Cobbs to, and that set I bought about 10 years ago. Wow. And it's so unique. So I literally, and it's interesting for me because I'm starting to see some of the cards that I purchased 10, 15, 20 years ago and go, wow, I forgot I even had that one. And I'm going through a whole box of Fleer 86s, hoping I still have the Michael Jordan in there and it's in great shape. That's a great card. I've got a bunch of T206s and T209s from 1909 that I have found. my Cy Young, Alexander, a Ty Cobb. So those are fun. And so, and then I've got newer ones. You know, I've got, like I just showed you those. Here, I've got, here we go. These ones they call Bomb Squad. These Bomb Squad ones. I just found a bunch of those with Caleb Williams and stuff like that. Some new Paul Skeens, some new Drake Mays, Cam Scattaboo.
Yep.
Jackson Dart. I found one of my rookie Wimbleys the other day, so he's kicking butt in
he's turning it up.
Playoffs right now. He just had an incredible night the other night. So, you know, I look at these and I'm thinking, great, I've got them. And second of all, okay, now I need to take him to somewhere, either an auction house or and just literally I need to go to, oh my God, here's one. You'll love this. So anybody that was watching the playoffs, so if you look at, so this is Brandon Miller from 2023.
Yeah.
And, well, you can't really see him. There you go. But now he's got tattoos everywhere. He's doing stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I looked at, like I had a LaMelo Ball card, his rookie card.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And I looked at him and I was
tattoos.
like, he doesn't even look like himself anymore. He's got so much ink, and I've got it, my ink, but he's got it everywhere. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, it's insane. He probably, you know, having that first card, and then whenever he retires, have that last card. It'd be interesting to do a side by side.
It would be cool to do a side by side.
And then as you know, you kind of build up this, I guess, another investment portfolio, you could call it, with the sports cards and investing. Is there anything else in sports that you have on your bucket list?
Oh, on my bucket list. You know what? I do have to get to a World Series yet. I've been holding off for the Milwaukee Brewers to do that. I actually own 2 golden tickets for the Milwaukee Brewers. So if they go to the World Series, I can present that golden ticket, and I get 4 tickets in one of the first 10 rows in the home section during a game. So I bought 2 of them many years ago, knowing that someday that they will get there. Knock on wood. And so that's my goal. But I may have to, now that I'm gotten to be this age, I may have to go to a different World Series game. What else? I'd love to take my wife down to, well, we go to Georgia Tech games every year because I'm still a season ticket holder. I would like to take her down to Ole Miss. They have a beautiful campus. They have a beautiful walkway where they have all of, I guess we call them tailgating up here in Wisconsin, but tailgating tents and everything. And it's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful campus. I was very fortunate when I was at Tech. We would go to SEC games, ACC games, been to Clemson, been to North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, because they play in both Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, and had just wonderful as a young man. Now I want to experience that with my wife, or my children used to come to games with us in Atlanta, so that was fun. Yeah. And as cool. I was just on the old interwebs there, as the adults like to say, and I was validating my airline flights, my hotels, and my car for the first 3 games for Georgia Tech this year, because we're playing Colorado, then we're playing Tennessee, and we've got another game that I'm going to go down there and do some stuff with some friends and family with.
Oh, very cool.
Mercer, I think it is. So you got 3 games right off the bat, and then the rest of them I'll give to the military fund that we have, or we'll send them to some employees. But
yeah, very cool, very cool. And I was going to ask you, since we're on the topic of college football, do you like the expansion idea, going to 24 teams in the playoff? Yeah,
I don't like it at all. It starts to get too much, too many. I would prefer to stay at 12, to be honest. But I'm not giving a vote on that. I wish I was. I would say let's keep it at 12 and let's go from there, and go forward from there. And it's funny. I'm actually doing a World Cup game in Atlanta. I'm flying in at 5:40 in the morning, and I'm leaving at 7 o'clock at night. And when I go, I'm actually meeting a good friend of mine who actually works for the College Football Hall of Fame right down there in Atlanta, down by Centennial Park and everything. And we we are going to have some conversation about that. He's got nothing to do with the decision making,
Sure.
since they put that in some other executives' hands. But we are going to. I'm going to give him my opinion, and we're just going to sit back and see where it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love it. And then before we close, Chris, I'll do two questions before we close. One is, kind of what are you most bullish in sports right now, whether it's tech, media, sponsorships? What are you most bullish about in sports right now?
Yeah, I think tech is fantastic. I am a huge fan of. Let's get that reviewed. I think the umpires right now and the union are in a place where it is hurting them to not be on top of what they should be. There were some plays this weekend even that were in the field, and you look at them and you're like, guys, that is a basic rule. You can't be blocking. You can't do this. And then there are managers out there. The manager of the Twins this weekend, well, he was blocking. Well, no, you're not allowed to have your foot in front. So it's, and some of these guys and gals, that's why I think technology, I don't want technology to take away the umpire behind the plate, but it needs to be an unlimited ability to tap and it also needs to be, you can't just raise your hand. It happened in the Dodgers game the other day. Batter's up there, and all of a sudden he didn't go around, and he just kind of went like this, and the umpire is not even watching. He thinks he went like this, but he just went like this. And so you've got to be better. There's this gentleman out there, this weightlifter, Joey Swalls, who checks on people. You got to do better. I say that to the major league umpires, the minor league umpires, any referee out there. You guys have got to start doing better. You guys have got to come together. You got to be a group, and you got to manage and support these activities. So I'm bullish on technology. I think technology can also help them to stay in the game. You could literally get rid of everybody on the field and have cameras everywhere, monitoring and watching everything, and have instantaneous decisions on everything going out. Hell, we put cameras in the dirt in front of home plate.
Yep.
We put them in bases. We could literally get rid of every major league umpire, minor league umpire, and just have camera video evidence of everything. And if they don't watch it, that's where it's going to go. But I don't want that, because I love this because it gets the fans involved. The fans love it, and it doesn't slow down the game. You literally, by the time you go, the batter's already fixed his gloves. He's got it. Oh, call's overturned. It's a strike.
Yep. And like I said, it keeps the fans engaged and on their seat. As soon as they do that, then everyone whips their head to the scoreboard and like, see how close it was, see how close it was.
Yes, and it's interesting. You can market that. You're promoting that. Sure, it might be the T-Mobile strike zone or the T-Mobile zone as they're calling it right now, but you can have other promotions on there and to get back to the business side. And now you can also leverage that more because it's literally 3 seconds, an additional 3 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. He turns around. Boom. I was a loser. I can't see. My eyes are blind. I don't have my glasses on, or I'm 71 years old and I'm going to retire. Bye. But yeah, I think technology is going to be the future.
Great. I agree. I'm with you there. And then for the listeners and viewers who are, just kind of getting into their sports career or if just business career, whatnot, what's kind of one piece of advice you use that you've used in your career?
Okay. So go out to LinkedIn and friend every sports person that is out on LinkedIn. And then follow up with them. If we talk all the time, I don't care if I'm in business or if I'm talking about my sports background, or if I'm talking about tech, or if I'm just talking about business and entrepreneurship in general. And I forced my daughter to do this. She's just graduated with a nursing degree, and she works in an ER hospital. And I made her, I said, look, you graduated from a nursing school. You find every one of the nurses that attended that school, and you friend them and say, I would love to have coffee with you. And I tell young people this all the time. If you want to talk about sports, business, politics, technology, whatever, and you've heard me on a podcast, connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my business profile. I don't know you well enough to have you as part of the other items that I don't do a lot of, but I do follow Instagram. But I'm willing to have conversation. I'm willing to have a coffee, and I'm willing to have a bourbon. anytime, anywhere on this planet with just about anybody who says they heard me or saw me or I speak in engagements. Young people need to do that because us old guys, we are willing to do that to help give you some knowledge, to help you grow in your capabilities. There's a young man down in Milwaukee. He was my intern. And after his internship, he did a year of internship with me. He got on the radio in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Then all of a sudden became a host of his own show in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now he's out there all the time. Nice young people. I do that with others. With professional side, I know a young man who's second in command to this phenomenal building facility up in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin that builds multi-million-dollar homes. These are the people that came and asked for some advice. My advice was good. I don't know, but they're doing pretty well. That's what I tell young people now. Get on LinkedIn, post on LinkedIn, connect with people from your university first and foremost that are part of your degree. Then, secondly, meet with them. Don't just ghost them. Don't ghost others. Get out there and be a part of normal society and business society today.
Yeah. No, well said, well done. I enjoy that kind of putting a bow on the episode. I think it's great advice, especially just get out there, show people you're human, talk to them, get involved, get connected. And like you said, the sports world, everyone talks, and I'm sure in the other industries they do just as well. Like you said, with your daughter in a nursing degree, so it's all applicable there. But Chris, we enjoyed you coming on today and sharing your knowledge in the sports world, and we talked radio, tech, investments. We were all over it today, so I appreciate you coming on. And where can the listeners and viewers find you? Is it LinkedIn? That's your main source?
Find me on LinkedIn. I'm on that thing all the time. My staff knows where to, if anybody needs me to funnel them. And just let me know. You heard me on the show. I'd love to connect with you, or you'd love to have a bourbon or a coffee. I will even pay for the coffee in the morning and the bourbon after midday. So I'm willing to do that anywhere I travel in the world.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here first. So, listeners, if you're connected with Chris, that is right there. So, once again, Chris, we appreciate you coming on, and it's been another episode of the Constant Sports Podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.
Hey, thanks much, everyone.